Hello, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the Gupshup Diaries that I'm bringing to you. These are conversations with people from all walks of life. Some of them are my friends, some of them just get connected through friends, and I think I'm having a wonderful time speaking to everybody because when we connect and when we talk, that's when we learn to appreciate each another. Is that Patrice? I'm so happy to see you here. I'm so happy to see you here. And thank you for joining. And to everybody who's joining in, Tushna, as usual, of course, my dear friend Tushna, who always encourages me, Masha, I'm sure she'll be here too. Oh, there she is. I spoke about her and there she is. So, hi, Masha. I was just saying that you always are here to support me, and it's wonderful. So, Mr. Kumar has joined, and I'm waiting for him to give me a request. The moment he does, we will talk about this wonderful initiative and this wonderful passion of his called motoring. So, Mr. Kumar, you will see a request button drop coming up. Please click that button, and I will be able to take you live. So, hello, Sabi sir, okay. So, Kumar sir, can you see that request button? Give me a thumbs up or a request. Hello Anupam, hello Instatech _group, hello Bhaskar, hello everybody. So I think Mr. Kumar is having a bit of an issue and this may be connecting. I'll try to take him on by giving him a request myself. So Kumar sir, just wait for me to give you a request and I will invite you to join me. Okay. Okay. So how do I invite you is the thing, invite Mr. Kumar. I can't invite you, and so Mr. Kumar, can you see a request button that has popped up? Just scroll and you will see a request button which allows you to join me. So can you see it? Request. See if you just accept that. Just accept that request. Can you see that, Mr. Kumar? Kumar sir? Kumar sir is trying to get on live with me. This is sometimes a problem, you know. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody or anything. Okay, Patrice, we are talking about highway kings. This is a motoring, a group of people, a community of people who are, who love motoring the highways. And so I'm waiting for Mr. Kumar to join, and I hope he can, because I can still see waiting for Mr. Kumar. So Mr. Kumar, I think your internet, if you can go on to your phone internet, perhaps, if not your house internet. And if Poonam, you can hear me, maybe you can call Mr. Kumar and guide him through, because I think you know him. So because if I go off, then we'll get disconnected. So in the meantime, let me just say hello to all of you who joined me and to tell you that Gupshup Diaries is unable to join. Okay. Mr. Kumar, maybe you need to just go off the live, come back again. And the moment you see the request button, please press that request button. And I hope we can talk. For whatever reason, he's unable to join. It happens sometimes. A friend of mine, we had to do it 3 times to join. But it does. So you have requested, but I can't see your request. Okay, I got it. Please wait. I've got it. I've got your request. Patricia need not leave, you know. There's always something to learn from everybody's conversation. What do you mean I'll leave? Don't you dare leave. Wait for some time and listen in. Oh, hello, sir.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can hear you very well.
I can hear you very well. Thank you for joining.
Namaste.
Namaste, sir. It's so nice to see you. So let me start straight away by asking you a little about your background, because we have been connected through a friend. So I really don't know anything about you as a friend, and I'll be happy to know more before I ask you about your initiative and about the things you do.
Hi, good morning, good evening. Thank you for this, Hira. It's wonderful talking to you. I just discovered that we have a very, very good common friend today morning. She just hailed
How did
me
you
and said,
discover
"Hey,
that
you
in
are."
the morning? You don't tell me.
She discovered it actually. Okay. So to take you back to what I'm a very boring chartered accountant by qualification. I've been doing a lot of wonky things through my career. It's been now,
Okay.
I'm 56 years old, so that means around 45 years of working around,
Okay.
auditor, financial
Okay.
services.
And so that
Um,
I, your internet is giving a bit of a problem.
no, I can hear you very well. No problems at all.
Okay. No, because from my end, I can get a little bit of crackle sound.
Okay. No, I have a problem because people were trying to get in touch with me, and that is probably the disturbing. That's all. Nothing. No, don't worry. Keep talking. If you
Okay.
can hear me.
So, no, I can hear you, but it's your sound is completely crackled at your end. Is there some, maybe it's the headphones? Maybe if you remove your and talk
Yeah. Can you hear me better now?
a little better.
Better now?
I mean,
Okay. All right.
can people tell us? Okay, perfect. Okay, so you were telling me that you have a background of having worked for many years, and but you've been an avid traveler also, avid traveler. So, how did this love for motoring start?
It is more of a love for travel than for motoring.
Okay,
When I was young, I
okay,
used to walk. Then I used to bicycle. Then I just bought a motorcycle. Then I bought a car. So tomorrow, if somebody gives me an airplane, I will probably do the same thing. So it's just the mode of transport has kept changing. It's not that I love cars particularly. Just that
okay,
last 35 years I've been in the cars. So probably a lot of people think I'm a motorist, but I think essentially I'm a traveler. If you send me to
okay.
Europe, I would prefer to go by Eurail than to go by car. So it's just that
Oh,
the traveling is more fascinating than just being a roadie.
okay, I understand. So now, Highway Kings is something which has created its own identity, and it's got a lot of byproducts like an online store. It is everywhere in the country. So how do you all, I mean, how did this all start, this Highway Kings? And I mean, how do you all interact among yourselves? I mean, because it's a community, it's a Facebook community that has been created, right?
Yes. You must remember one thing that motoring is still a fairly new thing in India. And motoring has been a taboo. I mean, people have been always scared of traveling by road for very obvious reasons. So when I started many years ago, I was a very unique Columbus, if I put it that way. And I didn't know anybody who drove anywhere by road. And that
Okay.
applied to so many other people who interacted with me. They never met a freak like me who went everywhere by road. Everybody was used to going by bus or train or plane. And here is a guy who was going by bike and car. And then it so happened that I also was a meticulous accountant. So I used to, being accountant by training, as a meticulous accountant, I also documented whatever I did. So
Oh,
that gave me a great database of what I had done, where I had gone. And this database has been extremely useful because anytime somebody asked me a question about going by road, I always had a ready answer. I never had to refer anything specifically. I could tell you exactly how to go from, say, Bangalore to Mumbai, or where you could stop for food, which petrol pumps were bad, or where there were safety concerns. So this
okay.
became a kind of knowledge base which many people used to call me all the time. I mean, it's been, as I said, I bought my first two-wheeler in the year 1986. So ever since
Okay.
I've been traveling around, and every time people wanted to travel, they used to call me and ask me. Now this has metamorphosed into various different platforms. I mean, from just calling up somebody on the phone or meeting him, we went into higher technologies, and we had Orkuts, we had Yahoo groups, we had later on we had Facebook, we now have WhatsApp, we've got Instagrams. So it's just the platform has kept changing, and technologies have kept changing. The last
So would
one
you,
decade, particularly, a lot of people have started travel.
okay, but sir, you said you keep changing the platforms, or all these platforms exist, or just, I mean, like,
No,
if somebody
I've
want
just,
to,
I've also evolved with the rest of the world. I mean, the rest of the world has slowly got into more technology-intensive platforms and
right,
more
right,
community-based platforms. So all those have become obsolete. Now you don't have Yahoo groups anymore. You don't have Google groups anymore. So all these were earlier avatars, so to say. So now we are more into I mean, last 10 years, Facebook has been very active, and the community was also set up on Facebook by one of my good friends. And that
Okay.
became a kind of meeting ground for all of us, because most of us never thought there are other guys like us. So we needed a place to express ourselves, because each one of us used to be viewed with derision. When somebody says you're driving the road, he said, "Are you mad? You should be. Don't you feel unsafe?" So when we all got together, a lot of people got the confidence that there are other people like us. That we
Yeah.
are not the
Yeah.
only guys who are driving around, and this gave them a lot of confidence. They started interacting with each other. They had a place to ask questions. They
Okay.
had a place to. There are people who they could share their passions with, their stories. Information was exchanged, photos were published, etc., etc. So
So, sir,
this is a yeah, yeah.
sorry, sir, this a lady here, Sangeeta, is asking that women are more scared to drive alone. Does your community have a lot of women also who are adventurous?
Oh, well, we have a lot of women. Women are no less adventurous, and some of them. My best driving experiences have been when I had women in my car. So
Okay.
there was a Sankita last year with me when I went on a very very adventurous trip to Spiti and Ladakh and all that. So there is nothing,
Okay.
and in our community we have some of the best and the most plucky of women, and they are not just isolated. That there are just a few women as such. You must remember, in most of our road journeys, we have our families with us, and it's the families
Okay.
who are pillar stones for all these journeys. My
Okay.
wife is a navigator. She takes care of a lot of logistics in the car. So, and when they are drivers, we have so many people where the husbands play that role. So, like we have
Right.
ladies who drive around, and their husbands go nuts sitting by their side as they drive around madly. So, there's nothing like a difference between men and women as far as motoring is concerned. It's
No,
just
no, I
that
agree.
a lot of people are worried about the safety concerns. They have a lot of
Right.
safety concerns. The safety
Okay.
concerns are not significant anymore. India is quite safe
Okay.
to travel for it.
Okay, the reason why I asked about women drivers is because people always say women drivers, like stay away. I drive, and it's just last year that I sold my car because now I do not have much use for it. But I love to drive, and I was always driving to work, driving back. But yet there is a fixation in people's mind about women drivers, and therefore I asked you this question: that especially when it comes to highways and motoring long distances, do the thought about women drivers is a little
We,
difficult
we,
to
we we
understand.
have we have a lot of women drivers who drive alone, who prefer to drive alone, and they do a good job. So it's nothing to do with
Answer. And
capabilities, gender-wise capabilities. It's a matter of each one liking to do what he does. So these are
I'm
all
glad this.
passionate people who love to drive, who have the zest to travel, who dare to take on the
Yeah.
safety challenges. And
Right.
sometimes women suffer from inhibitions of that kind. So I don't think there is any such problem today. And we can't say women are better or men are worse or something like that. Everybody is good.
No, I'm not even going there. But I just wanted it to be said, that there are, that this is something that even the women are doing. Because it makes me very happy to hear that. Now, tell me, your community resolves a lot of local issues on the way, accidents. They help during accidents, medical emergencies. How did that thought begin, and how does that work?
See, when people get together, it's natural to help each other. And
Of course.
when we got to get together, we found we had so many problems. And the first thing is the locality problem. So when I go to Mumbai, I like to talk to somebody in Mumbai and understand where I get the best Belpuri from, or which hours are traffic times. Same thing applies to any place in India. So we are lucky to have a great geographical network. If you go to a place like Bardhaman, or you go to a place like Sri Ganganagar, I'm sure we have people who are there and who rise up to the challenge, and they keep posting updates in the forum. They tell us about their roads, they tell us about safety concerns, they tell us about local issues. And
Okay.
thanks to the networking in the forum, they're always available. Suppose I post something today on, say, a place like Ujjain right now. there'll be at least 5, 6 people who are from that area who know about Ujjain who will come and respond. So
Oh,
this has been the networking is a key thing. The second thing is, of course, when we drive, we always have that fear in our mind that anything can happen to us. And
mm,
since you are road driving is a very dangerous thing in India. We have the highest accident rate in the world. So we are always fearful of the unforeseen. And this has always
mm,
kept us, this gives everybody that feeling that if I help, I will get help tomorrow. So it's a kind
right.
of reciprocation which we all look to. So we all are eager to help because many of us have been in situations where we needed help and where communities, these are all complete strangers, mind you. I don't know you,
Mm,
you don't know me. It's just that
okay.
because we all come under a common label of a community, with same community, we want to help each other. And this has been very useful when we have had accidents, medical emergencies, and you will be amazed by the kind of Good Samaritans in any community. It's not about our community. It's that we sometimes think that nobody cares, but it's not true. I
Right.
found at least in the last 10 years that people do care and people do help. It's just that the correct switch. And I've been extremely fortunate that this community has been so helpful, and we can claim to be proud of our associations everywhere. I mean, there
Wow.
are so many cases, so many incidents to recite. But yes, I think the solidarity and the community spirit which we have keeps us all going. It's not just a kind of word of speech or something like that. It's real.
Right.
Uh,
Right. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I mean, because yes, that is the biggest fear about being on the road and on a highway. You go for miles and there's nothing on the way, and it's dark, or you may not travel in the night. You may travel in the night, but it is a bit of a worry when you see nothing around you. That fear is obviously going to be there in your mind. Except when you're seasoned travelers, I mean, like you are. But okay, so
No, no,
highway
no,
king.
no, nobody, no, nobody is seasoned enough. I mean, see, the
Yeah.
challenges are real for everybody. I mean, anything
And
can happen to you anytime. So, accident can
yes,
happen anytime.
no,
Safety concern. I mean, again, you must remember that safety concerns are over amplified in India. India is
no,
not
I'm
such
not
an
talking
unsafe
about that,
country
sir.
as it has been made. Uh,
I'm not saying that, sir. What I'm saying is that if I were to travel, like normally, I mean, like today I'm going for a holiday and I'm on a road, there is always a fear which probably will not be in your mind because you are used to, you've seen the roads. Whereas for a person like me who suddenly gets onto a highway is going to be overwhelmed with the starkness of the
Yes, that I
traveling.
agree with you because it takes some time to get into the groove, knowing
Yes.
how to prepare, knowing what to have, what to do in any contingency or unforeseen event. That is fine.
Right.
But I think it's a matter of a few hours of getting used to. Once you're behind
Right.
the wheel, each one of us knows only one thing. Only thing in our control is the steering wheel. That's all. Nothing else is in our control. So we
Right.
need to just be ready for anything that happens.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. So, Highway Kings GS initiative, what is that?
The first place we had this lot of episodes relating to accidents and medical
Okay.
emergencies. The first thing we decided was that we have a sticker in our car where we put down the ICE information. The ICE
Okay.
information in case of emergency information. So we have a sticker which tells you who you are, what your blood group is, who your contacts are.
Oh,
So
oh,
your closest family member, your friend. So there are two people mentioned in that sticker. Apart from that, there's a helpline given at the bottom. Helpline is you can always call that number and say, "Look, I found this guy in an accident. What do we do?" So that helpline comes to me, and then we can take it on from there because we have we will be able to network with their families and stuff like that. This is one part. The second thing was how do we organize ourselves if there is a emergency. So
okay.
typically, what we do is we need to know who is there in that locality where the accident happened. So we organize ourselves into WhatsApp groups, and the WhatsApp groups run across geographies. We have at least one WhatsApp group of our members in each region. And this is just good chop, people just keep chit chatting. But at the same time, when there's a need, they are always there to respond. Suppose I have an accident in Andhra Pradesh, I would just say there's an accident in Anandapur. Who do we have in Anandapur? And immediately somebody will say, look, my chacha is there in Anandapur. So let me call my chacha and ask him to do something. So we have had situations where the chacha has gone to the hospital, helped our friend, and even given him cash, sorted out medical issues, all those kind of things. Or organized towing vehicles for the car, help with the insurance surveys. A lot of tasks happen. So this meant that we knew who was there in every area. We also organized people in various areas to respond to such emergencies. And in India, everybody has got connections. So somebody has got somebody in the police, somebody has got a lawyer, and in our own community, we have lawyers and people like that. So they also chip in with what they can. Somebody who's in insurance, he will say, this is how you will file a claim. So he will sort out those issues. So this is a self-help group kind of situation. It has been working well. I think we can all claim to be very proud that we have helped enough people and we continue to help people.
But Kumar sir, this is a brilliant thought, of having a sticker on your car with this kind of information. It is something that probably all of us need to have in our cars, no? Just think about it. If we have a sticker which says what exactly you are saying, with if not a helpline, at least contact numbers of two people who are your family, or yes, in case of emergency, this is the person in the car. I think it's a brilliant idea. I mean, it's a brilliant thought. And I wish that, any of the authorities listening to us, especially anybody for that matter, should make these stickers and put them in the car, It's a brilliant idea. I mean, I really think it's an awesome idea. So I think there is a little bit of a problem. But while you're coming on with your internet is circling, I don't know why, but this community is also a crowdsourcing platform, and Highway Kings also runs commercial activities. So I want to ask you about that as soon as your internet comes. Exit and come back again. Yeah, you can come back again, sir. Come back again. Send a request again, and I hope we can connect, because beautiful thoughts that are being expressed here about, a simple thought that Kumar sir just talked about is having a sticker. They have a sticker on which two people contact numbers are there and a helpline which he himself handles. It's a wonderful idea which every car probably should have a sticker like that. So Kumar sir, if you can come back and give me a request, that will be lovely. Can you hear me, or is there a problem? Can you give me a thumbs up at least to tell me that you are here? And I can see a lot of Kumar sir's friends on the live, so it's wonderful. And I just hope he comes back soon. So this was a very interesting conversation. And okay, so we are back with him, and thank you for saying he's a simple man with extraordinary brilliance. That is, of course, I can see that talking to him. I'm just waiting for him to join me. I hope we do not get connected. And
yeah, I think so.
So, Kumar,
can you
hear me?
I can hear you very well. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you, but I can hear you. But we could talk while you're coming back, maybe.
Yeah. No, can you hear me? I'm sorry. I think I seem to be having connection issues.
No.
I don't know.
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, all right. Yes, the GS initiative has been extremely good.
Oh, we lost you again. Sir, do you have it? Can you use your mobile internet? Sometimes it works better than the house internet. Yes, we can't see Kumar sir, and we are not able to hear him now. But I hope he will come back, and we'll be able to connect again. So, yes, a very rare breed of people whom you can't find on this earth, says somebody about Kumar sir. And he's clearly the human GPS. Yes, that is the point. That is something I'm going to ask him, Gayatri, as soon as he comes back again. And I hope I can get him back again, because this conversation needs to continue. And is there any questions or anything that you'd like to share about him, which I can read out in the meantime till he gets connected to us? I'll be very happy to read. Maybe you can write something to me about him. Okay, and I'm going to take him live again and cross my fingers. Oh God, this internet is really painful sometimes. It's really painful. Okay, sir, you're back.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry,
So
a lot of connection issues here. Yes, sir. One further point which I wanted to make. There is also the
okay,
SOS number in an
okay,
app which we have called HVK app. And we also encourage people to store that SOS number. So anytime anybody has a problem, they can always call us. So we are always available. We can always help each other switch to the. Can you see me now? You can't see me, right?
yes, I can see you. I can see you. I can hear you. You're absolutely
Okay.
fine. So,
Okay, good.
okay. So then my next question to you is that the community is also crowdsourcing platform, and you also have some commercial initiatives which you are doing. So can you just tell me about those?
Yes, it is a crowdsourcing platform where everybody is free to come in and give information and take information. There is no obligation to give or take. There are so
Okay.
many people who contribute regularly, and we are enriched because of that. Apart from that, there are also a lot of requests which are very time consuming. People want
Okay.
help with planning their trips. They want route
Okay.
navigation support. So what I did some years ago was I started an initiative where I started tying up with hotels. We made
Okay.
a app, Android app, which you can use to navigate routes, be in touch. I help people with planning their trips. So we have something called a club subscription, a club membership. You become a club member, so you get unlimited help during your trips. So which means
Oh.
you want to go to Himachal, you just come to me and say, I want to go to Himachal. How do I do it? So I give you a plan, day-wise plan, looking at what your constraints are. You will say, I have a 3-year-old child with me, or I have an 80-year-old man with me, or I just love to drive, whatever. Uh, I help you with all the hotels on the way, hotels in the Himachal circuit. I give you a detailed route navigation app where, like what Google Map does, you will get your route,
Okay.
how to navigate. And I'm always with you throughout. In the sense, we are always in touch on WhatsApp, you're always in touch on phone. So anything you want to know, you say, oh, I think I missed my way, or I just want
Oh.
vegetarian food, or which is the best aloo paratha I can get in this area. So a lot of information. So we all have amassed a lot of information. So this particular thing helps them with all that. So most of our trips are organized for families who are most
Okay.
in want of such services because they are a lot more worried than individual travelers. So this has been going on for the last, say, 8 years. It's modestly successful. A lot of our friends chip in and help us. And apart from that, we have a lot of merchandise. We have stickers, we have T-shirts. I'm wearing one now, T-shirt. So we also organize drive events. We have a very
Oh.
successful drive event called the Monsoon Drive, where we drive
Okay.
during the rains. We
Wow.
also have events called the All India Meet, where we all get together in a unique location every year. Then we also have a lot of regional meets where people in Bangalore get together or people in Delhi get together. These are all essentially excellent from the point of view of networking. And people love
Okay.
to meet each other, they talk to each other, understand what they are uh, doing, how to do.
Right. So Kumar sir, can I ask you one question? You said this app is it an app that is available for only your group, or say somebody like me? I do not drive, but as a family, we often hire a small little minibus and we decide to go off. So those kind of for people who do that kind of a family outing together, let's say they all get together, hire a little bus and want to go off, would your community be available to such people also?
Yes, the services and help is available to anybody.
Okay.
There is no need to be an expert driver or an expert traveler.
Okay.
Anybody who is doing the first time trip is welcome, and they are the most in need. And app
Yes.
is something which can be downloaded free in the Google App Store. It is unfortunately only available for Android phones right now.
Okay.
You can make a request only for a map, or you can make a request to become a club member. For some, many people just wants just the routing and the mapping. So that is
Hmm.
also possible. You get a map for something like 100 and 200 rupees. Or
Oh,
if
wow.
you want a larger comprehensive help, you could always come and become a club member, and I will be happy to help. And as I told you, this is a, uh recurring thing. It's not for one trip. You can have as
Right.
many
Right.
trips whenever you choose to travel. You can start planning your trips for 2024 right now. I am always
Wow.
available to hear you. So that is how it is. So anybody is, there is no need you should own a car. You can go by bus. It's the same road. So it doesn't really
Right.
make any difference.
Right, right. But because when you say community, then people tend to think, oh, maybe I cannot, avail
No,
of
it
the
is not.
service.
It is not a Freemasons club. Don't worry. It is not a Freemasons club. In fact,
I
the
understand.
community is just one aspect of our overall reach. There are a lot of
Okay.
people who are not in Facebook, who are not in WhatsApp. So most of the people who you see in Facebook and WhatsApp are people who came asking for my help once upon a time when there were none of these things. So it is nothing. There's
Right.
nothing like Facebook as being a prerequisite. So it's just
I
that
understand.
you hear about me from someone, like uh, you heard about me first from one of our members, Vaibhav. So Vaibhav said, look, there is this nutcase who keeps driving around. Why didn't you meet him? So it's like that. So we keep networking with each other. We keep introducing our
Yes.
friends. So there's
Yes.
nothing, no formal procedures to help.
That's very nice to hear. That's very nice to hear. So you are called a human GPS. Now, how did that name come about, and is it because of that app, or is it or it's just
No,
because of your
no, it
expertise, of
is
course?
the app and all that is a modern thing. Google Maps is a modern thing. So this GPS
Okay.
business, people started calling me GPS because I happen to know a lot about maps and a lot about roads. So you would ask me about
Oh,
any place, I would tell you. So they were little surprised that anybody could do this without referring to a map or something. I could tell this out of memory and my past experiences. So they started
right.
saying, look, this guy is like Shakuntala Devi. Like she used to crack math, this guy can crack any route. So from that, it evolved. So when the GPS instruments started coming maybe 10, 15 years ago, then
Okay.
people said, look, GPS tracks your location and finds your location. This guy will tell you anything about a place or anything about how to get there. So it is
Okay.
just stuck.
It's very apt. I can see that. So tell me, you said you journal all your travels, of course. So you would. I just love to hear just one or two scary or memorable experiences that you've had on the road. Which have stuck. Of course, you've done a lot of travel, but there must be one or two which are very close to your heart. So would you like to share just maybe one or two experiences?
See, I can't say any specific episode as such, but I've been traveling to what people perceive to be some of the most dangerous places in India. And
Okay.
even today, we regard Kashmir as very dangerous, or Northeast as being a little difficult for most people to go. So I
Mm-hmm.
first drove to Kashmir in the year 2001 when there is nothing called tourism in those days. And there are bombs exploding everywhere. And I was only tourist in town. So those were days and I never felt unsafe. Although the mahol aise tha that everything was very scary. When you
Mm-hmm.
really get down, like when I first went to Guwahati, again in the year 2000 or 2001, the same week, 7 bombs were exploding in Guwahati. Those were days when Guwahati had a lot of problems because of insurgencies. I've been to places like Nagaland, Chhattisgarh, all perceived to be very unsafe. Naxalism hai, Maoist hai, freedom fighters hai, all this kind of thing has been going on. I have been stopped by Naxals. I've been stopped by
Okay.
so-called freedom fighters. Uh, well, they all appreciate a person who loves, who has come traveling to their land. or the region, despite all the adverse things which are said about them. When you go to,
Yeah.
I said 3-4 years ago, I went to a place like Kupwara, which is in western
Which is
Kashmir. Kupwara,
okay.
Kupwara, every day you hear about Kupwara, Handwara, and all that. Now, some of the most warmest people I met in Kupwara. Whereas if you ask anybody, Kupwara, अरे भयंकर जगह है रे, ये बहुत bomb होता है, ये होता है, all that. People are so fantastic. They refuse to take money from me after serving me breakfast. He said, आप अपना
Wow.
मेहमान है, आप अपना मुल्क आया है. How I can take money from you? You are my friend. So I come with more of friendly experiences than ghastly experiences. See, one
Wow.
remembers bad experiences, but I remember the good experiences, and I think that is what we should remember. If you're going to be going in a fear psychosis, I think you're deceiving yourself. India is not such a fearful country. I've always
Of
come with
course.
very good experiences. One good
Uh,
thing about two good things about me. One, I come from Mumbai. So every time I go to a new place, अरे आप शाहरुख खान का घर गया होगा और अमिताभ बच्चन जी के साथ चाय पिया होगा कौन सा चाय पिलाता है रविदा टंडन जी so they all fall they अरे ये तो अवतार है अमिताभ बच्चन का अवतार आ गया अपना गांव पे so the bonding with Mumbai Mumbaiker is
yes.
very very instant in India because of the movies. Then
Oh,
my Hindi is so good that whenever I open my mouth to talk in Hindi, it becomes like a Jaspal Bhatti comedy show. Every time people start talking, "अरे ये क्या है आप मुंबई का आदमी है क्या? ये हिंदी एटलीस्ट नहीं लग रहा है आपको? आपका भाषा ठीक नहीं है." So then they start cracking jokes about my language. So the ice gets broken. The ice gets broken by these kind of things. These are the deal breakers or the ice breakers. So people, it's very easy to um,
yes.
engage with people in India. People are very friendly. So I never felt
Yes.
unsafe anywhere. Uh, I don't think I can say anything bad about any part of country. Everything is good. The worst parts of the country are good. That's my
So,
and I've always been encouraging everybody to travel regardless of what they hear and read in the newspapers.
right.
Things are not so bad as they appear to be.
Yeah, and so I loved what you said about language, and that brings me to a question that when you travel in places where the language becomes a barrier, I mean, I'm sure that there must be some places where it is difficult to communicate because of the language. Of course, India, so we are always able to communicate. But have you ever? You said you just had this little bit of a one up because of your language.
No,
Uh,
my language is bad. Okay,
I
I
know,
never
I
had
know,
any problem with language anyway, because
I
wherever
know.
you go in India, North India, West India, East India, Hindi is spoken. Many parts
Exactly.
English is spoken. You go to the Northeast, everybody speaks English. South India, since I am a South Indian, I have at least three languages in South I can understand and talk reasonably well.
That's
So there
that's
has
an
never been a
advantage.
communication issue. There's never been a
No,
communication issue ever,
no, there will
ever.
never, there will never be. There will never be in India for sure. Because somehow we manage to communicate, whether it is English or Hindi or whatever language, or even
Yes.
two words work even in the South. Just say an Anna and you say Sapadam, and it has worked for me. So it's as
No, no.
simple as that.
In my case, I come from Kerala, so we have a
Okay.
Mallu even in Mount Everest serving tea to Edmund Hillary. So we are not worried at all. Everywhere we have a Mallu who will talk to us in Mallu. So,
So
so there
Kumar,
is no
you
issue.
are blessed. You are blessed. You are blessed. You are blessed. That I can say. That you are definitely blessed. Okay, now something. Tell me something that if you're planning a road trip, what are some essentials, and what would be motoring tips that you'll give people? Just what do you think are essentials that people need to know about before they start out on a trip, and what are the essentials they should have with them? Just a
So the
few. Just a thought.
biggest concern people have are what lies ahead. What is the road ahead? And I mean the
Right.
road ahead. It's not just about the road, the route, and all that, but what to expect. They don't know whether the
Mhm.
road will be a ghat road, whether it will be a good road, bad road. They do not know whether it is safe to drive in the night. They're not sure whether
Right.
their planning is correct. Suppose I plan a trip through Bangalore city, I can start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'll still be at 8 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll still be stuck in the traffic jams of Bangalore city. If you know what I what I mean. So it is very important to prepare for a trip. You should understand your route well. You should understand what you're going through, what kind of facilities you can expect. Suppose I have a long driving day, I should know where I should halt, where I can
Yes.
expect to get a decent hotel and a good hotel. Suppose many people are vegetarian, so they say, I want vegetarian food. Many people are foodies who want to experience a local food. So there's so many issues. So I think the first and most important thing, you should research well. You should understand what
Mm.
you're going to do. The second biggest concern people have is about the vehicles. Since we drive by vehicles, and most of us are novices as far as vehicles are concerned. So the concern is what will happen if the car breaks down? This is a very
Right.
big concern. So for a lot of people, the car is a black box. They just don't know what to do if anything happens. Beyond dialing the 1800 numbers or waiting for a towing van to come, they just don't know. So one of the good things about our community is we keep ourselves appraised of what to do in such emergencies. Emergency for us is also car breakdown. So we help each other understand the car, prepare the car well, keep checking the
Okay.
car during the drive. If some problem happens, it's not only 1800, it's also our own wits, our own smartness, thinking on our feet, we can solve the problem ourselves. So I think this is a very, very big concern. The first question anybody asks me is, my wife wants to know where the toilets are. Just as an example.
Right.
Or what do I do if my car stops suddenly?
And I have one
If you
biggest
can,
question. Where is the petrol
yes.
pump?
The
My biggest
petrol pumps,
petrol.
yeah, petrol pumps are very useful for us because they have good washrooms. So petrol pumps are for us in our apps. We keep flagging all the petrol pumps which have good toilets. And believe me, in our forum, people report back and say in this particular petrol the toilet is ganda. In this petrol pump, the toilet is very clean. So people actually plan the trip and say, "हम उधर जाके toilet लेंगे, toilet करेंगे." It is
Uh,
so. These are very key issues. It sounds very trivial, but it
no,
is
no,
not.
true, true.
So most of us, these are the key concerns because India, the subsidiary, the primary problems which we had are all going away now. They are replaced with secondary problems. And I'm happy to say our highways are also improving by leaps and bounds as far as facilities are concerned. They're a lot advanced now compared to what 20 years ago or 30 years ago. We have
Yes,
very good
yes.
facilities, and the families can happily drive around without too much of.
So you
Of
said
course, you may have to
that
lessen your expectations. You may have to lessen your
oh,
expectations. That's all.
yes, yes. So what other questions are normally asked to you when somebody wants to go? One, of course, you said the toilets. I would say the petrol pumps, the car itself. Anything else that people need to be a little, think carefully about? See, driving in the night might be something that most people would not be comfortable doing, right? And should they
Not
do it?
really.
Is something that I ask.
No, not really. Night driving, it's again very different world. There are people who work in BPOs and UK, US
Yes.
shifts who are very comfortable driving by night, and
Okay.
there is no taboo against driving by night. Although typically families try to avoid traveling by night.
Okay.
I can only say that as far as night driving is concerned, actually more comfortable driving by night. Traffic is less. You're more focused when
Mm-hmm.
you're driving as a driver, and ultimately the weather is also nicer. Less hot, etc., etc.
Right.
So it is not taboo. There is nothing. For us motorists, we don't think night driving has any special hazards. Today's
Okay.
modern cars have good lighting systems, and highway petrol pumps are open 24/7. Dabas are open most of the time. But again, I repeat, a lot of us traveling with families try to avoid night driving because
Right.
the daytime is when you can see places. After all, the purpose of
Yes.
driving by road is to see around you. So the night
Yes.
kills that. So we tend to drive more by day. Because the idea of
Yes.
a road journey is everything is flexible. You can stop when you want to stop. You can take a detour when you want to take detour. Somebody says, I like this place. I want to spend extra 2 days. You can spend extra 2 days. You can
Right.
just listen to the local villager who will say, "ये मंदिर अच्छा है, इधर एक दबदबा है." Go to the waterfall there. So it is good fun to change your program based on your whims and fancies. Whereas when you go
Absolutely.
by road, in a taxi or in a plane or train, you just can't do it. So
Right.
we
Right. I
love
agree.
the flexibility and the freewheeling nature of our trips. We don't
Yes.
worry
Yes.
about
I
schedules. We don't worry about ticketing. We are not worried about high fares. Even the hotels we choose to stay in, we don't have to be near a bus stand or a railway station or an airport. We can be in the
exactly.
most remote part where it suits us because we have a car where we can drive.
Beautiful thoughts. Beautiful thoughts. I love that because I've done a road trip with my family many, many years ago, and I had such wonderful experience. I mean, and I don't know, there are so many. We just still haven't forgotten that trip. When we went, 17 of us in a bus. It was a fabulous experience. So yeah, the other question that I'd like to ask you is, how often do you travel? I mean, what is how often do you decide to travel, or do you plan your travel, or do you just leave it all open ended?
See, I mean, I have the advantage of being a first mover and having traveled around for so many years. So, in a
Okay.
certain sense, I run out of road. Okay, I run out of road, and every time I had to rack my mind to say where else to go. So I have to repeat all the destinations again and
Oh,
again. There's
wow.
nothing new. The new thing is, yes, there are new roads. Sometimes new destinations may have opened up. So you tend to go to those places. So places like Ladakh, I've been any number of times. Northeast, I've been any number of times. So now every time it's a challenge to find a new place to drive to.
Okay.
So I don't do frequent travels. But what I do is whenever I have to travel anywhere, I prefer to go by road. So even if I have to
Okay.
go to Bangalore for some work, I would prefer to go
Okay.
by road. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
that that has been a very yeah, like somebody has just said, why fly when you can drive? Just now somebody has put
Yeah,
a
yeah,
message.
yeah. Why
So
fly
we
if you
don't
can drive?
yeah, yeah.
So, but sir, tell me something. When you, if of course, driving means having a lot of time on your hands. Also means you need. If you're going from here to Bangalore, it is going to take you probably 2 days. Of drive or whatever. Same like people love to drive to Goa. But if you are going for a holiday and if you need that time if you're going to take that kind of a holiday, isn't it? You need to plan for every.
Let me take Goa as an example.
Okay,
Let me take Goa as an example. If you're going to
sure.
Goa by plane, you need to be in the airport 2 hours before time. You need to travel
Agree.
1 hour to get to the airport, so 3 hours gone. 1.5 hours in the flight, so three and a half, 4.5, five ho gaya. And then you get off, say half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you have to travel 1 more hour. So you're going to take around 7 to 8 hours to reach Goa, net net. I
Right.
reach Goa by road in less than 10 hours. So what's the difference?
It's
So
just a
there is no
mindset.
difference. Okay.
It's just a mind block,
Uh,
right?
yes. I mean, most places you can
And
drive very
somebody
fast. I
say
mean, you'll be very surprised. You said Bangalore in 2 days. We do Bangalore in 12 to 14 hours. So we keep
absolutely.
saying that get up early morning, have your cup of coffee, and let's go and be in Bangalore before it's a pub time. The
Woo.
evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, and I
So
think I
it's like
heard
that.
that loud
It's
and
not
clear, sir.
as it's. Of course, we do that. We'll say, let's leave in the morning with the first cup of coffee and let's be in the pubs of Bangalore. We really do that. We reach before 5 o'clock in the evening, 5 o'clock in 6 o'clock in the evening. It's the roads are lovely. It's all up to
Yes.
you, your temperament, how you want to take it.
Right. Right.
I do typically Bombay, Delhi in the same day. You'll be very surprised. But that's how the roads are. And the road minister today threatens to give us a road journey from Bombay to Delhi in less than 10 hours. By
Oh,
another 1 and 2 years, he says, I will give you an expressway which will give you Bombay, Delhi in 10 hours or 12 hours, whatever.
right.
So the
Right.
roads are
Right.
fabulous. It's not difficult at all to travel in India.
No, no, I agree. I agree with you. It's a very fascinating thought, you know. It's just about you planning it out well and, you know, wanting to do it. It's about that, you know. And one of your friends here is saying that Chief is faster than the Rajdhani. So I'm getting a little worried
Yeah,
about the speed you're driving, but that,
no, no, it
I
is.
guess, oh,
No, he's right. He's right. He's right because even say 15 years ago we used to be the Rajdhani Bombay to Delhi. And believe me, we don't drive very fast or anything like that. We are not nutcases. I have
yes,
a car with 15-year-old car which doesn't cross 120 kilometers an hour. So it's not that we are mad cab drivers. It's just steady
and
driving, less brakes, good starts, read the traffic congestion zones well. So quite a number of tips
okay,
I can keep reciting. It is not difficult at all.
right, right. So, what is the longest road trip that you've ever taken that you can remember?
I have been away for a full 31 days in the Northeast,
Wow.
covering around 16,000 kilometers. It is the single longest. Apart from that, I've been on many other trips where I have taken off for 20 days, 25 days, 15 days. Typically, I like to
Okay.
take off for 2 weeks, 15 days, 15 to 18 days. So otherwise, a trip of 2 weeks is perfect for a family which is going on a holiday.
All right.
Again,
And
my
what
trips have
coming up?
always been very extraordinary in the sense they don't fit a normal traveler's itinerary. My
Okay.
trips are always about going to new places, finding a new travel circuit, and most of the time I never met anybody who has been to those places before. We never
Oh,
we had to find the roads, we had to map the roads. So it's been always been like that the last 2 decades. And even today, there are so many roads which are unmapped, so many places which are unknown. So you can keep on
okay.
discovering till you die. You know, there are so
No,
many.
I'm sure. I'm sure there are many roads that you can take, and it's just up to you. Untrodden roads, as we say. And do
Exactly.
you? Of course, you must be not. All your trips cannot be solo. You must be having. Do you travel with friends? Do you travel with family? And what kind of music do you hear when you're on the road? Because I think music helps. I love to. I love to drive basically because I love to hear music in my car, or I love to play, and so I take the slowest road to my office place because I want to hear 5 songs more because I just love to listen to music. So
No, I'm
is that
not a
the
great
same with you?
music buff. I'm not a
Okay,
great music buff. I used to listen to music occasionally earlier. Nowadays,
okay,
I've switched off music completely. People
oh,
who accompany me, who love music, go nuts because there is no music, there is silence. As I keep telling
oh,
people, I love to listen to my car because my car is a very old car. It keeps complaining sometimes, and the complaints are always communicated well in advance. So you must keep listening to my car. So I come from a different school of thought altogether. Not that I have anything
okay,
against
okay,
music, but I prefer to listen to the car, silence. Specifically, driving also requires a lot of concentration, particularly when you go on
yes,
long
yes,
drives. So
yeah,
although
especially for
music does
drive.
not create any disturbances, but I'm happy
Okay,
without all those things. Yes, if I do listen, I listen to some old instrumentals. I love the old romantic things like Boney M's and all those things, Kenny Rogers and stuff like that. But I'm
okay,
mostly instrumental listener. We even made a CD for our highway community some years ago. We called it the
okay.
Highway Hum. So we compiled
Called
a
it?
list of
Sorry,
around 18 best
sorry.
road driving songs.
Oh,
Can you
wow.
hear me?
Yes, I could. I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. We compiled a CD of around 18 songs, all with themes of driving on the road. So that's about it.
Okay,
So very, very
okay.
boring
So,
guy.
no, no, it's not about boring. It's about each one's likes. Like I like to listen to music when I drive, but not everybody does. It all depends on individuals. So okay, Kumar sir, what is the place where you've met the friendliest people and eaten the most wonderful food that you remember, or any street food or anything that has stayed with you? or you'd like to go back and say, oh wow, that was the place I
See,
really
I
enjoyed.
don't want to sound prejudiced or try to play favorites, but all I can
Okay.
say in a relative perspective, I love Kashmir. Relative
Oh,
perspective. For the simple reason, I think the Kashmir has been so black marked by all of us, and but I found very friendly people, and the Kashmiri Wazwan food is so nice to eat. So
yes.
I somehow try to vote for Kashmir in the thing, but again, that is not to prejudice, have any prejudice against
No,
any other regions. I mean, everywhere
it's your
else,
favorite.
everywhere I've gone, I've enjoyed good local food, and
Okay.
happily, it's not just about even the local. Our own friends in those areas have been so fantastic.
Yeah,
Wherever we
yeah.
go, we are fortunate to have friends, and whenever we travel, we make it a point to meet our friends in that town, and that
That's
is
love.
the experience. That is the experience, because we get to meet them. They take us through the local experiences, whether it's food or a local culture or anything. So I think that's the great bonding which we have in our community. Yes, each one of us, whenever
That's
we travel, we tend to meet somebody or the other, and that's a lot of. 1 minute,
yeah,
please.
and no worries, no worries. And yes, it is definitely. I mean, I love making friends, so I all would love. I anywhere I go, I'm making friends. So I'm sure you must have made a lot of friends, Tina. So can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you
I
hear
can
me,
hear you.
Kumar sir?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was saying that I was saying that on every trip that I do or everywhere that I go, I come back with making 5 friends because I just love to make friends and talk to people. So I'm sure you must have made also a lot of friends, and plus you have all people all across the way whom you can connect with. So that's a beautiful, beautiful thought. And
Oh,
so now
yes.
tell me something.
We go to connect with people, local people. We make local
Right.
friends, and these are friends who are there with you for a very very long time.
Yes. And surprisingly, Facebook is such a beautiful place that I love it. I call it this the best place that like you're connecting with people continuously on Facebook, and then when you meet them face to face, you just don't feel that you've never met them because you
Yes, of
just
course. In fact,
that's the
that is
beauty
what
of
happens in our physical meets. Whenever we have a physical
it.
meet, you think these are people meeting for the first time, but when they meet, they know about everybody
Everything.
so intimately. They'll say, "You went to
Yes.
Munnar, Kerala last week, last month. So how was the food there?" So things like that. So there is so much of bonding because of the online community. So the physical
Absolutely.
world, this transmits to the physical world. So whenever we meet physically, they know so much about each other, and they're always. It is like they never were separated anytime.
Right. So, sir, all your travels that you've done in the beginning of your travels, probably your camera must have been out. Now, maybe you may not be taking so many photographs because you've done so many travels. But is there any photograph or some place or some photograph which has remained in your memory, which you've taken
I
maybe and
have
you still?
lovely albums from my earlier trips, iconic trips, which I did
Yes.
to Ladakh or Northeast. No specific photos. Some of the photos. See, I used to take photographs in the pre-digital era, so which was the film era. The film era was totally different. You had to worry
Yes.
about, you had to economize on the number of photos you took because it cost money, a lot of money. Film cost money. So after that, I have not been very active in photography. I always used to be fortunate that I had companions with me in my car who were passionate photographers. So I became the
Great.
driver and they became the press photographers. So this has
Oh,
always been
wow.
so. All I can say is in all my trips, people who have come with me on my trips have had the fortune of taking some fabulous photographs. So each of my trips, we come back with a whole album of photographs. None of them taken by me, but I can claim the credit for being the director and the cinema, not if not a cinematographer.
Wow, that's great. I
Yeah.
love that thought. But,
Yeah.
yeah, but I love to take photographs, and I must take photographs and selfies. That's my past biggest love when I meet
No,
people.
what happens
So,
is, in my case, I always think driving
Kumar
itself is a
sir,
full time. Yeah.
we are going to get cut off in 23 seconds. So before we
Yes.
before we end, I just want to quickly thank you I wish we could continue this conversation. Maybe we will have another conversation, but we are running out of time. We've just got 12 seconds and it's going like a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So thank you very much. And
My
it was a
pleasure.
pleasure talking
Thanks for
to you.
listening.
Absolute pleasure talking to you. And